Okay, let me go back to reading. So I know that a lot of people are thinking that the Supreme Court can give a president immunity. They can't, and the reason why they can't is because of this. You see that? This is the Constitution. There's no immunity. Because the Supreme Court and all courts in the United States take an oath to the Constitution, and this is what the Constitution says. There is no immunity. I don't see any immunity for presidents, vice presidents, or any person holding an office governing people of the United States. It's not in there. But I'll continue. So, we're leaving off at section 1, Article 3, Section 1. The judicial powers of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold with office during good behavior and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2, the judicial powers shall extend to all cases in the law and equity arising under this Constitution. Let's reiterate that. The laws of the United States and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdictions, to controversies to which the United States shall be a party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming land under grants of different states, and between a state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and those in which the state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all the other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with such expectations and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes except in cases of impeachment shall be by the jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where the said crime shall have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such a place or places as the Congress may, by law, have directed. Section 3, treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attender of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeit except during the life of the person attainted. Section 4, Article 4, Section 1. The full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of each other state. And the Congress may by general law prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be proved, and the effect thereof. Section 2, the citizen of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crimes, who shall flee from justice and be found in another state, shall on demand of the executive authorities of the state from which he fled be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. No person held to service or labor in one state under the law thereof, escaping into another, shall in consequence of any law or regulation therein be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. Section 3, new states may be admitted by the Congress into this union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned, as well as of Congress. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be so construed as to prejudice any claims of the United States or of any particular state. Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union or a republic form of government. Sorry, let me reread that. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, or shall protect each of them against invasion, and on application of the legislature or of the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Article 5, the Congress, whenever 2/3 or both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for purposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the Constitution when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states, or by convention in 3/4 thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1808 shall in any manner affect the first and fourth clauses in the ninth section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of this United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound by thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators and the representatives before mentioned, and the members of several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both in the United States, and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but not religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. The ratification of the conventions of 9 states, well, we have many more now, shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states so ratifying the same. Done in convention by the unanimous consent of the states present and 17th day of September in this year of our Lord 1787, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 12th, in witness whereof we have hereundo subscribed our name. Let me make sure I read that for you, show you that. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, of abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for the readiness of the government for redress of grievances. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Amendment 3. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly described the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Amendment 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation to be confronted with the witness against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witness in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Amendment 7. In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rule of the common law. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, no cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. Amendment 9. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states or reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Amendment 10, or sorry, Amendment 11. The judicial powers of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the states by citizens of another state, or citizens or subjects of any foreign state. Amendment 12. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, on one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballot the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president and all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate, the President of the Senate, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives. Open all the certificates and votes, then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest number not exceeded 3 on the list of those voted for the president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately a ballot the president. Let me pull this down so I can show you, and that be in there. But by in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having one vote or quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to choose. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president wherein the right of choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president. As in the case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of the president shall be eligible to the vice president of the United States. Can't tell if that's a 13, Amendment 13, because my eyes aren't that good. Section 1, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Notice appropriate. Section 1, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny nor deny to any person within its jurisdictions the equal protection of the laws. Representatives shall be appointed among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for president and vice president of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such states being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged except for participation in rebellion or other crimes, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age and such state. In such states. Getting tongue-tied. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state whose having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of a state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. The validity of a public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payments of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave, but any such debt, obligation, and claims shall be held illegal and void. The Congress shall have power. The Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state or account of race, color, or previous conditions of servitude. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes or incomes from whatever source derived, without appointment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The elector in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointment until the people fill the vacancies by elections, or the legislatures may direct. This amendment shall not be construed as the effect to the election to or term of the Senate of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sales, and transportation of intoxicating liquors within the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territories subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. Well, of course, we've gotten over that. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent powers to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The article shall be imperative. The article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution, the legislatures of the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by Congress. The rights of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on the account of sex. Sex meaning gender. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The term of the president and vice president shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the term of the senators and representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January of the year in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the term of their successors shall then begin. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meetings shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. If at any time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president-elect shall have died, the vice president-elect shall have become president. If a president shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president-elect shall act as president until a president shall be qualified. And the Congress may, by law, provide for the case wherein neither a president-elect nor a vice president-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as president, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a president or vice president shall have qualified. The Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a president, whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the person from whom the state may choose a vice president, whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them. Section 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within the 7 years from the date of its transmission. I think I have enough here. I'm going to make another video. I'll be back.